welcome to Zero Credibility Sports. Today it's just me and Harry. Justin's a bit occupied with family matters at the moment. Anyways, let's go. A lot of things have been happening over the last few weeks when we're gone, but we're about to talk about one of probably the biggest moments of this season so far. So for me, on my side, I don't know about Harry, from my side, I woke up this morning 7 o'clock sharp. So I like to think it was about...
Is it 7 o'clock Singaporean time?
Singapore time.
Oh, wait, sorry. We've given away your location. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all right. Shh. Need to move now. It was 7 o'clock sharp. That means the game would have been over an hour after the game ended. So I woke up...
Yeah, it started at 4 a.m. your local time.
Yeah, so... I woke up with a really, honest to God, a funny feeling that we might have won. So I was obviously groggy as hell. Went to my phone, clicked on go.com just to, just try to figure out what the score was.
Why did you get up? I mean, is it because you felt like you were gonna lose? Is that why you didn't?
No. I was positive. I actually was really positive, thinking that.
Why not? I mean, you woke up early to watch the first leg, but why not? What's this leg?
I was occupied with work.
Man. No, I understand.
Not to travel again, but okay. Anyways, I woke up 7 a.m. sharp. I always wake up 5 minutes before my alarm for some reason. Anyways, I digress. I grabbed my phone, groggy as hell, clicked on go.com, and the first piece of news I saw was go fuck yourself, by Neymar or something. Neymar was complaining, and I was like, did we win? Then the next news article was Lukaku and Solskjaer part of a man something. I just saw Lukaku, Solskjaer, miracle, and I was like, we won. Then I started going on Instagram, and then you see videos of Lingard.
That's the news source that you go to, right? Instagram.
Yeah, no, actually, if you think about it, Instagram, Twitter, these are the new news source of today for all the people. A lot of people
that's to get the part of problem the world has. But okay, go ahead.
Harry's gonna write a paper on this one day. I'm actually really interested to read that paper because there'll be a lot of interesting takes and truths to it as well. But I mean, that's the way we consume news today. And,
no. That's the way many people consume, but not everyone.
Many. Yeah, but that what I'm trying to say, and that's the way a lot of people would say it. Anyways, and so we won, and I was like, wow, holy shit! And the first thing that popped into my mind was damn, my prediction that Solskjaer will get the job might be just about right. Until I started reading a bit of news today about how he keeps saying I'm going to enjoy every moment I can with this job, which makes me question whether they've already made the decision that he's just staying until the end of the season. Even though you get all these pundits saying he's definitely got the job, just when and where, just how long and how much money he'll get it for, which I don't know. So, but I'm still hopeful he gets the job over Pochettino, because over the last few weeks, Pochettino has been very negative in the press conference. The title race is over. The FA Cup is an ego stroke. We're not a team built to win. All these stuff which doesn't embodies what a Manchester United manager should be. That's my opinion. Anyways, what about you? When do you watch the game, Harry?
Okay, so you didn't really talk much about the game. I guess you watched the highlights. I mean, we can talk about the management.
Did you watch the game?
I did watch the game in full.
How was it?
Well, have you finished? So tell me your feeling. You felt ecstatic.
Yeah, ecstatic. Yeah.
Yeah, and you feel that, hey, this is whatever happens. If he loses the next round, that's it. He's got the job full time going forward, right?
What's the question?
Well, I mean, you digress to Solskjaer's job status, and you think that because of this result, going for no matter what, if you have an honourable loss the next round, which is very reasonable against one of the better teams, he'll get the job, right? He's done enough, in your opinion.
Yeah, I like to think he has a secure top four first, but
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think,
That's yeah.
I think that's the most important thing, right?
What is the top four?
Yeah, the top four.
Okay, which is no short thing. I mean,
Yeah, it's
they're neck and neck without. I mean,
still tight. Yeah, it's still
big
very
game
tight
against Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a tight race for the top four. So I think that's probably top of his list. And
but in the Champions League, he's done enough.
yeah,
right?
I think in the Champions League, I think he's probably exceeded your expectations as well. I mean, like not expectations, but you didn't expect them to go through, obviously.
No. I actually had them favourites before the leg, knowing that Neymar was out.
Okay, true.
Okay,
but
so
then after the
you
first
felt
leg
that
happened,
too. No, you felt that too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I thought
Okay.
we were favorites.
So this is if you're just going to do this, yeah. After the first leg, yeah, most people would have thought, okay, they didn't have a shot, but you can't start the race anew after the first leg. Do you understand? Like before, so if you want to give him, and we can disentangle how much credit he gets for the win. If you want to credit him for this victory, then you've also got to blame him for the loss in the first round, in the first leg. That he put himself. It's in so much that, however you want to attribute his influence, he put himself in that position. So you don't get extra credit for coming up with a dramatic, ecstatic victory.
I think you get a bit of
because you started. You start the tie favored, and you did go through, which is fine. But it's like if you're favored and you crap the bed the first half and you make a miraculous comeback, you shouldn't really get that much credit because you put yourself in that position, right? Like because you and I have to admit, I think that hey, United, when knowing that Neymar was out, and especially then when Cavani was out as well, you're the hey, United should be favored to advance, no?
Yeah, I mean, that's still a lot of people still didn't think so, but I thought so. But okay, after the first leg, I was like, maybe we could, make it a bit tighter. But I was still skeptical of us winning, especially with all the injuries that we had. But I think you should give him. I think I would give him credit for doing it with the squad he had, losing 10 first-team players. So I'm like, I think he did a tremendous job against all odds. Once in a million.
Okay, so let's get to Solskjaer. What did he exactly do?
So he put out a squad and motivated them, and probably instilled belief in them.
Motivated. You saw the highlights. Motivated Kehrer to make a terrible sideways pass. Is that what he did?
No, I think he motivated the players to press. And if you watch the
first 10 minutes, any manager can say press, right? Any manager. Like it happened in United and Barcelona. Remember, United pressed Barcelona in 2009, and Barcelona was wobbling. Like it doesn't take a special manager to say, hey, go press for the first 10 minutes, right? I don't know if I give that much credit.
Anyways,
no.
In the post-match credit, I mean, I think it's more to it than that.
That's a rationalization at the post-match, like a winning sort of rationalization, don't you think?
No, I actually think I think a lot of people have been like trying to downplay Solskjaer's like tactical ability, and I think I'm one of them. I'm
ahead of the queue.
I think it's come through in this game, especially even he explained the game plan of we tried to press them in certain places, and they didn't want them to counter attack, so they had more of the possession. So it seems like whatever he said before and after the game, that dangerous in the counter attack, and the game plan, which was quite evident in the statistics, supports that. I think Solskjaer went in with a plan and it kind of came off.
Right.
Obviously,
so he went in.
It's very fortunate that. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So let's go through the goals, right? Because obviously goals are the ones that matter, right? Ultimately, that's how. Right. So we're not even talking about the first leg, right? Because the first leg, he wet the bed. So let's go with the second leg. So 2 minutes in, the right back, I guess, Kehrer, is that his name? You saw the highlights, right? So you know what
Yep.
you can say Rashford did press him. Okay, but again, how much credit do you give him? Do most managers will say, hey, we're going
to... Lukaku followed through as well to press as a team.
So okay, fine. So again, how much credit do you give Solskjaer? Like, does it take some sort of genius to say, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I don't really know I give that much credit, I have to say. I give credit to Lukaku because he's playing well, right? Like, he's played well the last couple of matches, and this is a shot which is a very tightish angle. And you're right, he did sort of follow through. Very tightish angle. Last year, he probably would have missed that. In fact, I did see him miss it against Tottenham, if you recall, right?
Yep, the open goal, yep.
Okay, so you give him credit, and in so much as Solskjaer is somehow getting the best out of him, then I'll give Solskjaer credit for that. But in terms of gameplay, that's a goal that Kehrer just screwed up. Wouldn't you agree? Like, to be fair, like if it was United's right back Bailey, and he was coming close to, if you watch the whole match, I guess you didn't. You see the highlights.
Bailey was like
he was coming close to
defender.
giving away. He actually gave away
the first
PSG's goal. Now, do you give credit a little bit
high enough with the line.
Okay, you give a little bit of credit to PSG, but you give most of the blame to Bayern because he just
didn't. When do you give credit to the players then? It's you always criticizing, like, you know, like, okay, the goal is not really all up to him. It's mostly because of like, you know, this player's fault. So how do you give a player credit for the goal?
Well, if it was if United had constant attack and created a lot of chances, even if they don't score that many goals, then yeah, you'll credit Solskjaer. But they didn't create a lot of chances. In fact, the goals they did score came more from mistakes. So again, unless you tell me that Solskjaer somehow put a voodoo spell on Kehrer for him to sort of just 2 minutes in to screw it up, and then if you go to the second goal, you tell me that. And then the second goal of the match was the sort of tap in from Bernat, right? That was Bailey. And by the way, I will blame Solskjaer on him playing him sort of on the right back role. Bailey's not a Solskjaer. So that's actually blame. Yeah, it was his decision.
From watching the extended highlights, they played like three at the back when they didn't have the ball, and when they have
it's a little bit sometimes. But Ashley Young was sort of becoming. He was a
right wing back. They didn't
really do that until sort of 20 minutes in, when they were really attacking the left channel, right? PSG. So they didn't really do that. They had Bailey at right back, and he's not a right back. He's more of a central defender.
Yeah. But anyways, he's a poor defender in my opinion.
Okay, fine. But so wouldn't you blame him for playing him out of position? Now you can say,
who else do they have?
Ashley Young.
No, but then who else would be on the attacking right?
Okay, you play someone else there. Anyone else? Because
it sounds like you think you could do a better job than.
No, I'm not saying. Well, in fact, evidently I can, because Ashley Young is a much better. I'm not saying he's great, but he certainly is. He's played in that position, right? Wouldn't you say,
give them the right width and attacking?
It doesn't matter. I would say the right back is a bit more.
What do you mean doesn't matter? You're discounting one important role.
Well, anyone other than Bailey. Wouldn't you agree?
But then when they switch into three in the back, I think there was a purpose to that. Unless you say
there was a purpose because Bailey was cracking the bed. He was terrible, and he got dragged 35 minutes in.
So unless you know exactly that Ole was going to try to play with Bailly and right back the whole time. Are you trying to say that?
He started the game with him at right back.
No, but was that the plan for the whole game for him to be right back?
Well, he obviously changed. It was probably the first thing he did in game, first adjustment he did in game.
But how do you know it's not pre-planned? How do you know?
Even if it was pre-planned, the first 20 minutes, PSG dominated attacking the left with Di Maria and I forget who else it was attacking the left. With Young and Bailly, and obviously you can say pre-planned. Who I don't know, but he changed it. He sort of said, okay, we got to bring Young back to sort of the right back and tuck Bailly in as sort of the right central back. Either way,
I think this type of like this. I mean,
but either way,
a lot of us like, you know, how would we know? I mean, I think
it doesn't matter. It's screwed. It doesn't matter what was intended. It mattered how the result played out, and it was played out to be a terrible decision to start Bailly at right back. Okay, you don't start him because if you saw him in training, I don't know what happened. I don't know how you would start. So that's a terrible mistake. That was a mistake. Okay, you have the right back is a much more important position than the right wing. So Ashley Young, not the greatest, but still better than Bailey, anyone is. And then you play someone else, anyone else. Well, it turned out it was Dalit, right? He was the right wing. So just
he came on like very late in the end. No?
Well, he came on for Bay in 35 minutes on when associated. It was just a concession. I screwed up. That's what it was. Okay. So so I would blame. So far, I don't give him that much credit for the first goal, but I certainly blame him. Obviously, I blame Bay, but it was his decision to play him for the first goal. So right now, he's a net negative so far. Right.
Okay.
Okay. So the second goal, second Manchester United goal. Again, do you put another voodoo stopper on Buffon, who just spilled a shot? I mean, okay.
Anyone else wouldn't have spilt it, right?
Look, it did bounce right in front of him, so it wasn't necessarily the easiest. But you gotta knock it away from the sort of danger area, don't you? Come on, let's be fair. If De Gea did that, you would be all over him.
Well,
right?
if you looked at the shot and the way it didn't just dip down, it dipped and swerved. Okay, I'm not okay. You know, I'm not gonna okay. That's what I'm just gonna leave it there as that, and you can.
But where do you stand on that?
Present your point.
On that? Because you seem to want to.
That was a very lucky goal. I wouldn't say.
So how much would you credit Solskjaer for that goal?
Well, I think when I credit Solskjaer, I'm not I'm actually. It's a fortunate victory. I'm not saying, what a masterclass
That's right. Okay, there we go.
But I think we put the team in I think we milked out every percentage we can with the resources we have to put ourselves with the highest percentage of victory, and that's what happened.
Hold on. But goals, ultimately, it's the goals that put them through, because if you look at the possession, I didn't look at the possession.
Okay, let's just say that we got three lucky goals. Like, let's just say.
Yeah. Because if you look at it, it's one thing.
The stars okay, let me finish, man. You kept going, so my turn. Yep. So you're saying 3 moons aligned itself for all 3 goals to happen on this very game, and we conceded only 1 goal. Just so. Okay,
I would say.
Okay, this should be the last point. I'll let you answer that, and then we'll leave it as that. I'll let you have the last say, and then we move on to the next topic. If not, we're going to spend too long on this because, because you watch the game, so you can give a better full-bodied answer. So I'm setting you up to give your full-bodied answer now, so we can move on to the next topic.
Yeah, okay, but I wanted to because I think many fans, because they confuse him for a great servant to the club versus I'm talking about Solskjaer, versus to be a manager that it's they sort of conflate that emotion, and I just want to bring a little bit more clear-eyed sort of objectivity to this. So if you look, I don't know, what does the stats say with possession? And I know possession is not everything.
70-30 to PSG.
Okay, so
which means they couldn't counterattack us. I'm just. I mean, that's what everyone's been saying.
Well, I'll get to that too, but certainly the victory, it wasn't like I can't put it on. I can't sort of credit Solskjaer because it wasn't like they had so many chances and they just got 3 lucky ones, which if you create enough, even if it's lucky, then that's okay. They didn't create many chances, right? Okay. The chances, it was given to them really by 2, and that's what I'm coming at. So
wait. I'm going to interject and just ask one question, and then I'll let you continue.
Yeah.
I think this would be a good question. Do you think Mourinho would have let's say before the tie, to make it even fairer. Just say if Mourinho was at helm of this tie, do you think he'll get through?
You're asking the wrong question because.
No, I'm just interested. What do you think, though?
Okay, well, why does that matter?
No, I just want to know.
Is Mourinho the benchmark? Because he shouldn't be. In other words,
I'm just trying to see whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is an improvement from Mourinho.
Yeah, that is such a low hanging fruit. Yeah, it's no look. I think I might have told you this. There's something called a dead cat bounce in economics, where you drop a dead cat and it's dead, but it still bounces, right? So
you're saying anyone could have taken the job.
Yeah, a monkey, and I'm not kidding you. A monkey could have taken over and they could have done better. I'm not being facetious, okay? So to compare what he's done, obviously there's no comparison, but to compare what he's done, people say, well, it's an improvement. That shouldn't be the litmus test. That shouldn't be the benchmark. Okay. And I think you not you, but people get caught up in, oh, he could have done better and so forth. I'm not going to answer that question. It answers for itself. Of course, he would have done better. He's done miles better than what Mourinho was doing before he got fired. Anyone, but you can't just sort of compare that, because that's you're not looking at it in a broader sort of picture.
You can continue about the game.
Okay, so I'm not going to get on with the details, too much details, but we're talking about the Lukaku tap in. I'm not going to give Solskjaer credit. I'm sorry. I don't know how much you give, but I'm not giving any credit. And then the third goal, well, do you give Solskjaer? It was also a bit pretty fortunate. I will say, I think I might. It reminded me of shades of the World Cup goal, if you recall. The VAR decision.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the one that ended the World Cup for you. The one that hit Ivan Perisic.
This is a little
volleyball.
This is quite a little bit different. I'm more willing to give it more of a penalty than not. Like, even though that was more of a penalty, you can make it, but you just don't overturn it. I can see this being overturned, but I still probably wouldn't, because it, like,
I would though, because it hit the guy's bum and then onto the arm. You know what I mean?
It's unclear whether it hit the arm first or it hit the bum, but
no, it hit the bum and arm, because it went bum, arm, up.
It's unclear. Like, I did the slow motion because I know you saw it and you saw it slow, but I did
saw
see
it multiple times, and then I even saw the Sky Sports analysis.
Okay,
the Sky Sports analysis where they got the referee.
Sky didn't broadcast. No, it's BT. But
BT. Sorry, BT
I haven't seen that yet, but it's unclear to me. Maybe you're right. Like, the angle came as if it deflected off the because you know what.
If it deflected off the arm and to the butt and up, it's
no.
Arm,
it just hit his arm. It just hit his arm. I don't know if it actually hit his behind. Now, I will say this: if it does hit his behind, then you have more of a case of him being not a penalty. Do you understand?
Yeah. No, that's why I don't think it was. And even though, if you think of, even though it hit his arm by nature, looking at the way it wasn't intentional. You know what I mean?
No. Don't do that. Don't. This is the fallacy that people get trapped into.
No. According to the rules. No, according to the rules, it is.
No, it's not about intent. The rules don't say anything about intent.
No, I know. According to the rules and for consistency and objectivity, it is a penalty. But I think, personally, from playing the sport, you should review it. Like, do you think? I mean, just like, what would you call it? Is it physically or sporting mechanics wise? He's jumping. So how does he jump to block the? You know what I mean? How does he jump and put his body in the line with? Should he put his arm behind his back? Because that's not an efficient jumping mechanism.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm talking about reviewing. Should we review the rules and change? I know I'm not debating what the decision was. I'm talking about in future, in terms of how, like, these when the ball hit the arm. So what if, like, I'm running on, I'm attacking the defender and I see his arms extended and I kick the ball to his hand intentionally. So should that be a penalty?
Okay, so we talked about this during the World Cup. It wasn't obviously recorded on the podcast. It's all about making yourself big, because you're trying to make yourself big when it's like one-on-one, right? Yes? Yeah. You spread your arms, you spread your legs even.
Yeah.
Because why do you make yourself big? Because if you make yourself big, then it's a much bigger target for them to sort of have to get over or get around, right? So it's an advantage. It's a competitive advantage, right? Yeah. Obviously, a goalkeeper, they're able to use their hands in the box.
Okay.
Right? Well, so if you somehow use some motion to make yourself big, even if it's sort of natural, and I put natural in inverted commas, then that's a strategic advantage, right? Okay. If the ball comes in, you present a much bigger target by making yourself big, by using your arms as leverage.
But he didn't make himself the biggest he could.
No, that doesn't matter. He made himself bigger. It doesn't have to be the biggest, right?
Well, okay.
Then,
anyways, I personally think.
No, hold on, Peter. I'm not done. So, do you see how, if we're just going to judge on the intent, then enough people is going to
be tough.
It'll be hard too.
I know.
Right.
Understand.
Then it becomes a strategic. Then it becomes a strategic ploy to make it look like you're trying to use it as leverage, but you're actually trying to make it look bigger, right? So it should be penalized, don't you think?
I'm thinking, what about in the future, especially when he's like jumping with his back and he's not raising his arms like,
No, but he did. He spread out his arm. Let's be fair. He did spread out his arm.
Like this. No, I think it's a very natural jumping.
No. Hold on. It might be natural, but don't do it. Like, because it's an advantage. Do you understand?
I think I'm talking about potential rule amendments. Or do you think the rules are perfect the way it is?
The rules are perfect. It's been taught differently to say, hey, you need to use. Well, you can use your leverage if you want. You can use your leverage, use your arms to jump higher. But if the ball hits your hand, then you get penalized. It's the risk you take. It's a risk you take because you made yourself bigger by trying to get some leverage for a jump.
For a jump.
Right. So that's the risk. Don't you think this is just sound logic? That's the risk you take. If somehow it doesn't hit your hand and you're able to sort of get ahead to the ball that you're unable to do without the hands, then good for you. But if it somehow hits your hands as you're trying to make a bigger jump, then that's the risk you take, and that's a penalty if you.
That's the rules for it. But okay, I think there should be an amendment. Rule.
Why do you say that?
No, because the way he jumped, he wasn't facing it. He wasn't extending to his full. He was jump. It's a very obvious that he was jump. It was a jump arm extension or jump movement with his arms moving.
How do you know it's very obvious?
I think it's. How do you know? Look at the jump and look at someone.
Then we're judging intent, right? Then you know what's going to happen on the training ground. Training ground, what's it going to do is, hey, make it look obvious that you're doing naturally, but yet trying to make yourself as big as you can to try to not look unnatural. Then that's the.
I don't think that would be it, but okay.
Well, actually, that will be. You don't think so?
Okay,
absolutely will be.
So, do you think players practice diving?
Well, I don't. Maybe.
So you think like there are sessions where, tackle. Okay, do your most convincing dives.
I don't know if it's an actual practice, but they will
because they're incentivized, right? Like if you think about it, like you say, people will be practicing. So you think people will be going down to the ground? They'll do like sets. Do you think they do sets of 10? Like, let's run drills of diving.
I don't know, but they will study.
But you said it like they will jump and practice to make themselves big and jump. You just say they would do that.
No, I know
because they won't do it for diving.
No, because that's two different things.
Why is it two different things?
It's here
within the rules, right? Within the rules.
It's called diving. Isn't like you might not. People don't want to admit, like even in the open, because it's sort of like it's unethical. Whereas here, it's almost like it's a strategitic ploy to try to sort of you're not like diving can be viewed as conning.
We're about to head into a rabbit hole. I'll let you finish. You finish.
Diving can be seen as conning the referee. Here, you're just seen as being cunning if you're just trying to act as if you are getting a little bit bigger, getting a little bit of advantage without actually making it look like you are doing it on purpose. And that's the whole point of it. If you make the rule that you wanted to make the rule. Do you understand?
What about tackles? Let's say tackles. What if the player actually gets the ball, but the player who got tackled made it more than it was? So is that conning or cunning?
I understand what you're saying, that they simulate it or they exacerbate it.
Call it, they use the word. They use a very good word, simulate.
Yeah. Okay. It's a trickier one because you did make the tackle, right? Like you did create. Did he get the ball or did he not get the ball?
Yeah, exactly. And did he really?
No. What I'm asking you. Huh? Obviously, it makes. If you get the ball or if you don't get the ball, that makes a heck of a difference, right?
Yeah, if you get the ball, but then your studs were up or something, or your studs wasn't up, but like, your studs were up. Actually, let's say your studs were up, but you got all ball. You got all ball.
If you get all ball, but if your studs were up and if you created some danger to the opponent that they have to get out of the way because they don't want to risk injury, then that's a foul as well, even if you get the ball. Do you understand? Like, in other words, because what do you mean? You made that face.
I think
you can't just go in with a weapon and say, hey, listen, if you don't get out of the way, then
it still happens to this day, like players go in, if a player goes in, studs up and it doesn't, and the other player pulls out and doesn't get touched, that's an okay tackle.
No one says the decisions made by referees are perfect. And because if you don't have VAR on tackles, it's not going to be perfect. But we're trying to, at least in terms of the rules, it can be sort of clear cut or more clear cut. And the tackling
we're
is
30 minutes in. We kind of have to move on to the next topic.
Okay, hold on. Don't always do that, because it's certainly when someone's in the middle of a point. Well, you asked this question.
I'm just trying to.
I don't have to answer this question. I mean, we're sort of going off topic.
You don't have to, yeah.
Right. But in terms of the VAR, I think it's pretty clear. Well, I'm not saying it's pretty clear. Like, I think it's a penalty. But because it wasn't called a penalty, I think it's a bit tough for it to be overturned. Although I can understand, like, it's a little bit.
What do you mean it wasn't called a penalty?
It wasn't called a penalty on the field. It was a VAR, like it was only sort of reviewed by VAR.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And whereas in the World Cup final, I thought it was less of a penalty than this. Like, I actually think probably, if looking at it, it's probably like a 60-40 penalty decision.
Well, okay. Why is it not objective then? Because it hit his arm. It hit Perisic's arms.
Oh, because that was a lot closer. Like, you are probably right in a sense, in a technical sense, that.
Then how would we measure it then? Like, you're trying to be more objective, but now you're putting a percentage to it. Oh, that should have 60-40.
Okay. I understand that. But to overturn, my arbitrary threshold to overturn a penalty is if it's like 80-20. If it's an 80-20 penalty, what do you mean?
How do you measure 80-20?
You don't think look, there is nothing that's like a lot of decisions aren't sort of stone cold, right? They're not sort of like, ultimately we come down on one side if it's more than 51-40 like than the other. But you can still have I think this is a 60-40 penalty. I think it's a 70-30 penalty. I think the World Cup was a 65-35 penalty. I think here is probably a 75-25 or 80-20 penalty.
Okay. I think don't you think they should do it like how they prosecute in law? They use the term, they don't use
beyond reasonable doubt, right?
Yeah. Do you think?
Well, yeah, they do this. They say clear and obvious. So it has to be clear.
Yeah.
So to me, the arbitrary, like, this is just I'm not speaking for anyone. This is just my arbitrary thing. It needs to be something where like 75-25. If it was not a penalty, it needs to be a 75-25 to be overturned. And to me, this probably wasn't you can make an argument that it is, but to me, it might not be. So I think it might be very tough, but I can't complain the way that I complain with the World Cup. So please go ahead.
This opens up a new topic. Then should VAR, should they have a panel for these decisions then?
You mean in the game? Is that what you mean?
In the game, yeah. Like, you know how like in the World Cup they have like a team, right, that watches the film and then they report back to the referee.
Yeah,
should it be like the referee and the two assistant referees look at it and they vote?
No. Well, okay. So my understanding is this: they want to give it back to the referee because they want consistency. Because the referee has the final say. Like, even if the side judge say, "Hey, there's a penalty or there's a foul," I judge it, but the referee has the final say. The referee can use the side judges as input, assistant referees as input. But for consistency purposes, unless it's like an objective decision whether he's offside or not, which doesn't mean
an objective decision for a penalty, right?
No.
Foul
it's a subjective.
In the box.
Yeah, but
the subjective foul in the box.
Yeah, but that's subjective. So when I say
why
objective,
is the foul subjective?
You have to use interpret. You have to interpret the rules. It's not like, hey, like a machine cannot determine whether a foul occurred or not. A lot of these fouls, a machine can determine if the ball went out of bounds, if the ball crossed the goal line, if the ball was offside, right? If the ball was played offside or not. So that's an objective decision. Whereas penalties, most by and large, aren't objective decisions; they're subjective decisions. Now, some penalties are very easy to make a determination. In this case, it's a little bit harder. So obviously, it was flagged and sent down and said, "Listen, you need to go take a look."
I think,
which they did.
For something as important, I think something for like as important as a penalty, which like puts you in a very high percentage of a goal scoring opportunity, shouldn't it be more objective, or it should rely more on consistency?
No, but what do you mean it's more what do you mean by that?
Like when you govern for penalties or fouls in the box, shouldn't it be more like the decision making or the judgment for this be more objective? Or
no, but it's not like, I don't know what you mean by objective, because objective is something that can be determined really by a machine, like whether, if the ball crossed the line or not. Subjective needs interpretation. Like a foul, if it's a foul, even if it's the easiest of it, that's still subjective. Like in basketball, you block and charge.
Yeah, I
that's
understand.
Subjective. That's a subjective call, even if it is very easy to see. But whether a ball went through the hoop or whether the ball went out of bounds, that's objective. You don't need interpretation. You just see it or not. Did it cross the line or did it not cross the line? So is that what you mean by objective? Because I'm not. Oh, are you saying that those important decisions needs to be made by more than one person? Is that what you're saying?
I just mean that like it should be more clear cut in terms of like, for example, the handball thing. Like, was it a goal? Was it
right.
Was it a handball? Was it not handball?
Well, this is where their wording, not mine, clear and obvious error, right? So to me, clear and obvious means that it needs to be the threshold. It can't be like a 55-45 penalty. It can't be a borderline penalty, right, to overturn it. So to me, my threshold, it's about 75-25. If it's a 75-25 penalty where it wasn't called, I'm okay with it being overturned. And here, it's a borderline case for me that it was probably a 75-25 penalty, and I might still lean against it, but I'm okay with it being for it. If nothing else, to get people put people on notice to don't spread your arms, even if it's unintentional, even if it's to get an advantage. Well, that's the risk you take. If you want an advantage in your leaping ability, then that's the risk you take by having by making yourself bigger. If the ball hits you, then it's a penalty.
Okay.
So again, is that social? Let me ask you: Is that Solskjaer's doing? Is that how much credit do you give Solskjaer for that?
I'm gonna stick with my original answer. Maybe not. I wouldn't say like. Actually, I don't even go. Maybe my answer is not like good enough to answer that question. But my final answer, which I said at the start, is Solskjaer put United in the best possible position with whatever resources he had
by playing
for them to win.
By playing
Bailey.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted.
So yeah. By playing Eric Bailly and oh man, I lost my.
Let the record reflect that it was a sarcastic phrase that you were being sarcastic when you said that by playing Bailly, right?
No, I'm just trying to get your bar off for you. Okay. Oh man, what did I say? Okay, so you put them in the best position possible. Yet, I still think if you look at it percentage-wise, they're still least likely to go through. But we had a bit of luck on our side. And I think he did the best he possibly could. And I think I would go so far to say that, yeah, he did a great job. He did a great job. Yeah, he did a very good job. And yeah, and okay, and in terms of the penalty decision, in my personal opinion, I think there needs to be maybe a review. Harry, you don't think so? But I think so. Maybe a little.
But there was a review.
Judgment.
There was a review though.
No, a little review in terms of the current rules.
Oh,
maybe amend it a little more.
How do you want to amend it?
In my opinion, I want to like maybe when something that would help. Maybe like in that situation, it wouldn't have been a penalty. I'll elaborate more next time. I think we'll talk about this when it happens again. Are you
saying that you need to take intent into account? Like
not intent, but I think you could do it in an objective way. I'm not sure how, but because when the referee was when in the BT Sport when they were breaking it down, Rio Ferdinand gave a point that
he comes from a player's point of view. Yes, I understand that. He comes from a defender's point of view that he wants to use his arm to
make
jump.
himself bigger.
Well, I don't think that's his intent.
No, but make it jump. But you know what I mean? If they could make some rule that you could try to differentiate that. I don't know if you can, but if you could, shouldn't you?
No, but what is your rule? In your ideal, you're the king for a day. What rule do you want? What's the rule that you're looking for?
I haven't thought about it properly, but I mean, if you could try to differentiate the fact that they didn't jump to make themselves super big, kind of thing, and they were just using it to jump.
Okay, here's where. Okay.
Jump and it hits and I don't know. I need to refine this thought.
Yes. But okay. Here's where your rule can come into play. Once they invent mind readers, then this no, I'm saying then this rule can actually work. Because other than that, no. Huh?
No,
Well, I'm serious. Because
Yeah.
it's hard to judge intent. And again, you're going to have actors and actresses, the way that they do with diving, with simulation, you're going to have actors and actresses to make it look like, if your rule gets passed, to make it look like that, hey, I am doing my best to jump, to use leverage, but in actual fact, in the process, trying to make themselves look bigger, themselves bigger. And they're a strategic advantage.
Okay.
We don't want that. We can't have that, right?
Anyways, shall we move on to the next topic?
One more point, if I may. So, just to sum up, I disagree with you completely. So much as he's inspired his teammates like Rashford to kick that penalty, Lukaku to score. Then all credit to Solskjaer. But I still say it's a net negative. Like, despite this miraculous win, it'll go down in folklore probably, right? Even if they don't win the Champions League. It's a great match. It's a great when you talk about Paris in 2019, people will know what you're talking about when you're talking about Manchester United. Okay, but I still think it's more of a net negative on Solskjaer as a manager, right? Given the 3 goals which he didn't really have a hand in, and the one goal that he did that they did give up, it was mostly because of him by playing Bay. But what lost in this is PSG. Your man, well, I don't know if it's your man, but I'm very skeptical, as you may know, about Mbappe. I think he's very talented. I think he is, I don't even know if he's top 10, and people will think I'm crazy. It's because of moments like this. I don't know if he came in with the highlights, but there is touches where he just misplays it. There was a clear one-on-one shot where he just slips. There was another one-on-one against 2-on-1 against Smalling on the left-hand side, where the second touch was terrible. And I know you're not the biggest fan too, but I'm just like, look, if you want to be one of the best, and most people say he is, well, you got to deliver. You got to deliver. Your teammates, your 2 other front men are down. You are clearly the best player on your team, and you had the lead. You had plenty of opportunities. It wasn't like you're alone out there and no one gave you the ball. You had plenty of opportunities. And in the first leg as well, he's had a lot of opportunities. I remember there was one against Luke Shaw. I don't know if you remember. Just the second touch or the third touch, it just lets him down. And people get caught up with all the blazing speed, and he does some very nice sort of tricks or flicks, which led to an offside goal, which fine. But in the sort of the tightest of moments, he's not there. He's not nowhere close to being there. And that gets lost in the shuffle because of the sort of comeback. And remember how we had this discussion off the air about how, Mbappe, he hasn't been put in a tough position. And, I actually said that in Real Madrid last year when Neymar was out, he didn't really come through. In the 2 legs here, if you're going to be the leading guy, you've got to come through. And he didn't really do that. So what is this? Let's just wait and he's not even
stock check. A stock check.
Yeah. And I hear commentators about, he rarely does that. He always does this. He's always.
I mean, like he
always teases you.
Yeah.
He always teases you with touches. He gets himself in a position and he just lets himself down. And so I don't know what people get caught up in all these goals in France and stuff. And in Ligue 1, it doesn't really do much. In the bigger stage, when your team needed you, you didn't come through. So that's almost as big a point as, to me, Solskjaer. And also, another reason why they won, or they certainly didn't give up many goals, your man Pogba didn't play. I'm not kidding you. Pogba didn't play. He wasn't a liability on the ball. And I've been telling you this. Things play him. He could be the best in the world, but in the biggest matches, in European matches,
he's a net negative.
You can't play him. You cannot play him. And I'm telling you, if he didn't get himself suspended, it's a very, very high likelihood that United will give up an extra goal and that they'll go out. And I know you're being smiling, and you probably agree with me.
I don't. Well, no, I actually don't. But
okay.
I don't want, like, if not, we're gonna spend this whole episode.
Okay. All right.
on
so
United.
that's it. Now you can.
There's only 15 minutes left, by the way. So
we'll do the rest.
Okay. Since you had your bit,
please.
end it. Can I end it?
Please.
my conclusion on this. I just want to start
have
with
the last word. Yep.
United knocked PSG out with this team. This was the final team on field. De Gea, Dalot, Smalling, Lindelof,
Yep.
Luke Shaw, Fred,
Yeah.
McTominay,
Yep.
Tahit Chong, which I bet you've never heard before.
I've never heard of him.
Mason Greenwood, top scorer of the under 18s. And
I've never seen him. Never seen him.
That guy, I think he's going to be a good player. I don't know how good he'll get, but he's pretty good for his age, in his age class, but I don't know if you care.
Yeah.
Lukaku and Rashford.
Mm-hmm.
Just let that sink in, guys.
By the way, can I just amend a little bit of what you said? Just when you said Manchester United knocked PSG out, I would amend that to say PSG knocked themselves out.
Okay.
Okay. Please. Next topic.
Okay. Before that, do you think for PSG? Let's talk about PSG. Quick PSG bit.
Yeah.
Do you think this was worse than them giving away all the goals against Barcelona 2 years ago?
That's a good question.
Which one's bigger? Which one's worse?
See, in terms of just absolute score, obviously giving up six goals is worse. But that did happen at Camp Nou, and Barcelona did have Suarez, Neymar, and Messi there, right?
Yeah.
Whereas here, this happened in their home, and if you look at the footage, it was their mistakes that led to it, like direct mistakes. Maybe 6 goals at Barcelona. Maybe it was a
just say which one.
There, right?
Answer it. This is gonna get too long, but which one?
But you understand, like it's tough because I think in the history, like when you look at the history, 6-1, that is the greatest comeback ever.
Yeah.
Right. That's the greatest comeback ever. So
Sergio
just
Roberto with the last goal. I still remember.
So just like because we're such a microwave society, we look at the headlines and. Like 6-1, like in the history, if you look at the Wikipedia page, like this is the greatest comeback ever. Like whereas 3-1, that's been done before. Unless you actually go look at the footage, you might say, okay, this is worse. But so do you understand? It's like if you look at the footage, you'll say this is worse. But if you look at just the score line, the 6-1 stands out.
Yeah, but we know both games, right? Essentially. Yeah. So which one you think's worse? You know that we know both contexts as well.
I actually think this might be worse because like Neymar may be back, so if they had gone through, they would have been a contender. They would have been right there. Whereas against Barca, did they have Ibrahimovic or not?
No, they
certainly had Cavani.
They didn't. They had Cavani.
Was he already gone? But they didn't have.
He was
Neymar,
already
right?
gone.
They didn't have anyone else. So they weren't expected to do well anyway. Whereas here, they actually had legitimate shot with so-called wonder boy Mbappe.
Yeah, he is a wonder boy though.
Well, no, he's not. I don't think so. But I know everyone thinks he is. But
I agree with you that he's not as good as everyone thinks he is. As like
not even a top
when they're
10
comparing
player.
Maybe I don't know. Like
you can shut him down. You just don't give him enough space. Okay, I understand you need a speedster on him.
What? You make it sound like so easy.
No, I'm not saying it's easy, right?
It's a multi-defender type of job. If you watch the game, there's always someone covering the space he's running into.
He shoots himself in his foot. I know it's a mixed metaphor, but
he's 21. Like I don't think he's as good as. I don't think
this is almost like shooting. It's not easy. Like, do you realize how it's the most difficult thing to be able to control the ball on the fly? Just
but it got better this year. You have to admit, it got better this year.
Did he really? I don't know.
Yes,
I have to see him.
Way worse before this year.
Wait.
If you look at some of the goals he scored,
a lot
of his
in
second
France,
touches
I don't really care.
better.
You know how I don't really care about that. I care about the Champions League. I care about this, and it's not like United is like the greatest of opposition, the greatest defending. All right, I would have the greatest defenders. So last year against Real Madrid didn't really impress me. This year, I think he took a step backwards just based on the 2 matches because he was in a position to help his team with 1-on-1 scoring position or even 1-on-2, if you want to call it the Smalling one. And there was one against Luke Shaw on the first leg where, hey, with the speed, you could have scored. But you didn't. It wasn't because of great defending. You just had bad touches. And, you can't sort of dribble in traffic the way that Messi does. That's fine. You have your other skill sets. But the other skill sets, like speed and stuff, you can't utilize because you can't control the ball. What is the point of that? What is the point of blazing speed? Okay? Now, you will score goals. He did score the goal in the first leg, which is to his credit because although the defender
he made the goal for this game as well?
Yes, I'll give you that. So, but hey, everybody makes goals. Like in other words, 3 goals were scored today. Someone had to score. Not everyone has an assist. So he didn't do nearly enough that was sort of he was capable of. So that's all. So I don't want to hear how he scored a goal. Yes, you're supposed to score goals if you're a center forward. Everybody, right? So that doesn't make him that much special. What makes him special is to create goals for your team when
he did create goals.
Huh?
He did create a goal. He created the penalty goal.
I understand that, but you need to do more than what would be sort of reasonably expected of you. Like you can't just point to, hey, he created a goal. You any soccer or football match, if there's a goals, then more likely than not someone would have created a goal. So that doesn't make you any special.
This is
right?
Okay. Now this is like I think you take away too much credit.
No, I'm not.
In my opinion. But anyways, anyways, I don't think there's only 10 minutes left. I don't know what other topics you want to talk about, but maybe I think we end the football the football episode, and shall we just get into the NBA episode?
Well, if you want to talk anything about just quickly the title race or
let's go through it really quick. So all right, we've seen Liverpool ever since after they lost to the 2-1 loss to City. This is their form has been. I can give you game by game. So after they lost to City, 1-0 against Brighton win, 4-3 win against Palace, a bogey opponent from former years, then followed by a 1-1 draw of Leicester, and then a draw of West Ham, 1-1 again, then a 3-0 win against Bournemouth, and then a draw with United, followed by the most recent game. A 5-0 win at Watford, followed by the most recent game, which was a draw at the Merseyside derby. I think Liverpool at home for the game. And
no, it was at Goodison Park.
Goodison Park? My bad. Yeah, Goodison Park. So, and right now they're languishing in second place, 2 points behind City, even games. All right, let's talk about City's form.
Behind. I think they're 1 point behind.
Let me double check.
Like they were 1 point ahead and they got a draw and City got a win, so they're 1 point behind now. Yeah.
Let me double check. Yeah, 1 point behind. Sorry.
I think, but you're right in the sense that they're more than 1 point because they're behind on goal difference, right?
Yeah. Thanks for the save. City right after that game, after that 2-1 win against Liverpool, they won every single game except that loss at St. James's Park, the 2-1 loss. So let's just quickly break down the two teams.
So just from that, and I didn't recall the whole thing, but since the Man City, Liverpool, or from that, Liverpool had dropped 11 points.
Yep.
There were nine matches. They dropped 11. City only dropped the 3.
Yes.
So City had to make up 8 points. They were 7 points down before that match, and now they're 1 point up. So just to summarize it.
Yeah. So then let's break down like what happened in between. Like Liverpool scored 15 games in the 8 games after that game, conceded 5, and City scored 17 and conceded 3. So I mean, obviously City is a bit ahead and a bit behind in terms of goals conceded, which is good. And what really happened? Like it seems like they can't score against they can score a buttload against certain team, but can't grind. They can't seem to be able to grind through victories. You know, they're missing that character of a champion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Team. Yeah,
I agree with that. I didn't watch every single one of their matches. I watched the biggest ones, like against Everton and against Man United.
And United should have won that game. I think stop with the draw, but I think United would have been.
You really think that?
I think so.
You honestly don't think that, right?
No.
Did you watch the format? You watched the format. Okay. Mane had the worst match of this season. Wouldn't you agree?
Worst match of this. I didn't watch all the games, but
fine. I'm telling you, I don't watch all of it, but it was terrible. Okay, just his touches. It wasn't because of bad. It was good defending, but it wasn't because of the defending that made Mane. It was just bad match.
So right? Liverpool shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. And Salah, if it wasn't for other equally or worse matches at the start of the season, could have also played his worst match. It was just basic fundamental touches. It just went nowhere. Now I'll give credit.
Okay, let's just leave the last 5 minutes for United. Let's just talk about United.
Okay, I think I'll give credit to your defense.
To shit on Ole Gunnar.
I'll give credit. No. I'll give credit to your boy Pogba. He actually put a defensive shift. I noticed that he put a defensive shift in, a rarity in a big game. In fact, I hardly seen it. So I'll give credit to United defense and Pogba, but if you watch that match, don't tell me that Liverpool didn't shit themselves in the foot. I'm not saying they would have won, but they certainly had control of the game except for the front three. When the ball got to them,
Who had the better chances?
I don't remember, but
United had the better chances.
Yeah, that's because Liverpool
had one shot on goal.
No. Okay, I know. But if you watch the match, they were in position to create chances, but they just couldn't because of just the first touch, just to set it up. If you've seen Milner with no pressure on him on the right side, he just crosses over everyone. And I'm sure as a United fan, you probably don't register because you
I remember. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But,
right?
Like, it's very convenient how you could always blame their touches and you could blame that pass. But okay, like, we'll go with that.
Well, yeah, and that happened really to a lesser extent.
Multiple times. It happened multiple times.
Right, but it also, like Salah and Mane's lack of finishing or lack of touches full stop, although it wasn't as bad.
Didn't have a shot on goal.
Right, it wasn't as bad, or that he did. It was against Everton, but wasn't as bad as against United.
Okay. Salah was worse. It was against Everton. He had 2 golden opportunities.
Right. And so I would say that at least he got himself in the position to have a shot, whereas he never even got himself in the position against United because his first touch, it just was terrible. Like, honestly, like I can't describe it any better than that. And you know that too.
He defended well.
I'll give credit. They did defend well. It wasn't like necessarily an opening, but Salah's, if you're the best player or certainly the second best player from last year, you got to do better than that. You have to admit that. Like, he was just awful.
Maybe United played so well that it made Liverpool bad. There's a possibility there, even though I don't believe in that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it just fundamental touches was just, I don't know what happened. And
so Liverpool just didn't turn up. I think that's what you're going on.
Well, certainly the front. Well, Firmino was he injured? He got injured, I guess.
He got injured.
Yeah, so certainly Mane and Salah just didn't. They just didn't.
Lingard got injured for us. Juan Mata got injured. Ander Herrera got injured in the first half.
By the way, I think I made a comment. I can't give credit to Solskjaer for the draw either. I'll give credit maybe a bit defensive by rolling his team up. But let's just say we got negative. How do you like that sub? How do you like that sub when you're already, was that second sub or third sub? Maybe it was a second sub.
Lingard?
Right?
When Lingard came on, he got injured straight away, and you think it's his training methods.
I don't know if it's training, but you're not sure. Like, he's just come back from injury. How do you risk him playing him when you've already burnt a sub? Why would you do that? And you can say if he went through unscathed, then it was a risk that paid off. But it didn't pay off. So the blame has to lie with him, right? Like, what sort of manager would burn all your substitutions by the first half? Now, maybe 2 of it wasn't his fault, or then maybe it is. I don't know. Okay. But certainly the Lingard one was. So how can he justify that? Is that not on the manager?
So I think this is where we differ. Like, you think that for that game...
Certainly the Lingard... I'm talking about just the Lingard substitution.
Okay.
So I don't care about...
Yeah, I know. But I'm going to get to there.
Yep.
But for that game, you're like, oh, shit happened. Liverpool didn't turn up. Is that what you're going, right? I'm going to go with, that's not how you think. What you think happened to Liverpool.
That's not necessarily reflective.
Okay, what happened to Liverpool then?
Yeah, but that's not reflective.
No, I know what you're saying.
I agree with that Liverpool didn't turn up. That's true, yes. But that's not reflective.
It was, okay, so I'm saying, so for me, I just think for the injuries, shit happened. Mm-hmm. The injuries occurred. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was responsible for setting up the team in the way to disrupt the way Liverpool played. That's my opinion.
You give him credit for that. Yes, they certainly were very solid. Somehow he got through to Pogba, or maybe just Pogba was on one of those days where he tracked back and he did well. So I'll give him Solskjaer some credit to that. Yes, but at the same time,
in the last minute,
both things can be true.
Both things, yeah, I agree.
Liverpool didn't turn up. True. And if they were capable of playing anywhere close to being where they're second or first, then I think it would have been a different game.
Okay.
In fact, it would have been a different game, but I think could have been a different result. But let's just put away from that, from the fact that, you know, training methods leading to all these injuries. I don't know. We don't know. Like, people blame Arsene Wenger for all these injuries. So let's just table that. I don't know that. But I'm just focusing on the Lingard substitution, where he got injured. When was it? In the first leg, right, of PSG. So that was like maybe a week and a half after, like, the Liverpool match was about a week and a half. And he decided to risk sending, because obviously Lingard was on for another injured, so it was for someone else. I forget who it was.
He was on for Mata.
Right. So it was already an injury. It wasn't like the second half. This was the first half. So you're really taking a gamble, right? If it was the second half, I can sort of understand, okay, you got 20 minutes to go and let's see what happens if you need a goal or something. But this is the first half. And to me, just on that decision alone, that's a failure. That's a complete failure for your management skills.
All right. I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
No, I just think that it was a very good substitution, because he was like, we needed a dynamic switch up after. Okay, who was to replace Mata then?
Okay.
Anyone else but him?
I understand what you're saying.
Anyone else but him?
No. I don't. I need to go back and look at the bench, but
I'll drop the bench for you.
Okay. But I would say that you need to know your players where they are on the sort of injury comeback, right?
If you watch the post-match conference, they didn't want to risk him. Listen, this is what he said. They didn't want to risk him, but he passed all the tests. He passed all the fitness tests that was beforehand. He passed all the fitness tests beforehand, and that's why they played him.
Is not the same as in a live match. So, but you can't just say, hey, you can't just rely on the fitness test as a cop out or as a sort of.
Okay. The bench, right? There was. Wait, is this the right bench?
I don't know.
No, wrong bench. Wait. Give me 2 seconds.
So my point is, like, I know you're looking at like for like, and all. I'm saying you have to take into account where he is. He's just coming back from an injury that's only like 30 minutes in or whatever it is. It's a big risk to take, and because he's failed, then it lands on him. If he goes through the match unscathed, then good for him. I won't never bring it up, even though I can still say, okay, it was a bit dicey. But the fact that it didn't.
Okay, the bench was Sanchez, Lingard, Pereira, Fred, Thiago Dalot, and that's it. And Eric Bailly. I mean, like, he's not gonna put Bailly there. So the realistic substitution.
Pereira would have been realistic. Fred could have been realistic. Right? Now, I'm not saying Fred would have been better than Lingard. In fact, I would say Pereira is a keeper. Let me tell you that.
The no-brainer would have been Lingard off the bench first.
Well, we disagree there, but that's beside the point. If Solskjaer thinks highly of Lingard, that's one thing. I don't think highly of Lingard. But certainly, you can't just send your best guy if he's under an injury risk. Like, there's a reason why someone back from injury, you don't start him, right? You use him as sub to come back on. You know, a 20-minute workout, right?
We're passing the time limit.
Okay, so I've just stated my piece, and you seem to disagree. I failed to sort of find your logic, but okay, we'll move on.
Yeah, I think that was I think Solskjaer has been doing a great job so far. I think sign him up. What about you? No? Don't sign him up?
I think he's probably the perfect caretaker manager in so much as, hey, you had a hell of a time with your previous manager. You need to right the ship. He is probably the perfect guy to come in and right the ship. But going forward...
Pochettino?
Maybe.
Question mark?
Certainly better than Solskjaer. I just think there are you give him credit for man management. Like, he's actually got positive skills, but I just haven't seen. In fact, it's not that I haven't seen. I've seen negative tactical, and it's not just tactical football, but just substitutions, which, like Roy King will always say, schoolboy error. This is a schoolboy error in substitutions. The one that I didn't even mention on this is the Sanchez substitution in the first leg, where I don't know why you substitute someone 20 seconds from first half or from the half time. Just wait the 20 seconds out. You can still use him. You can still send him on. But if suppose Sanchez in a warm up got an injury, or suppose you need to change, or suppose someone else picks up an injury, you need to just change the whole formation or whatever it is. It doesn't. it doesn't harm you if you just wait it out for 20 seconds. So like it just didn't sort of, it's like a chess move, a little chess move that he couldn't see. And that to me it's almost like clock management in NFL. It's fundamental errors that like to me doesn't bode well going forward when it's a lot more complicated things, stuff going on, when you actually need to win a match. So,
all right.
Tick in man management, but absolute fail in tactical. And to me, they're on a honeymoon. It's probably going to run out sooner or later. This is probably an extended honeymoon, but when it runs out, then we'll see. And by the way,
all right,
he will be appointed because of the fans, because of the people like you. I'm pointing to you, Peter.
Okay.
And it's probably going to be the worst thing that will ever happen to United. And we'll see. We'll see. We'll watch his space.
All right. Let's give it up for the biggest hater of Ole and Manchester social. Nah, I'm just kidding.
You can say that. I don't think I am, but
I just go with I forgot what I want to say.
Okay.
Do you want to say?
Oh, okay.
Jesus. You gotta stop being so distracting. Just kidding. What do I want to say?
Oh, by the way, I'm not a hater. I might be a critic. I might be critical of him. I might be a
no. Actually, I know what I want to say. I'm gonna end it. Harry, why don't you, I think come December. Actually, fuck it. You should start applying for the job right now, because it seems like you seem to be able to judge. But you seem to be able to know every single move and that he's done wrong, and you make it sound like objectively it's definitely wrong.
Yeah, but I've given you reasons for that. But you seem to be in the tank for him that you failed to see my reason, or you failed to at least acknowledge or even understand my reason.
Not acknowledge. No, I try. I do listen. I do listen to your point, and
but you seem to want to sort of go the other person.
No, it's just because I didn't agree with you. I listen to your point, and I don't even go like, I don't dismiss your point. I just go, okay, cool, but this is the way I see it. And
but it does come off as you being a fan, and you seem to want to sort of just take the other side because you want to sort of help.
No, I'm definitely a fan, but I like to think that.
So you would justify that Sanchez substitution. You would justify, or you think the
Sanchez substitution. Yeah, hell yeah. I just said there'll be more band behind the ball
for 20 seconds.
Yeah, for 20 seconds. It could be a ball. It could be
9 minutes.
Can I have my justification? So they could launch a ball into the box. And so you're saying if Sanchez was in the box, he would still be a non-factor?
No. But
all right, and that's it.
But send your forward. Send your centre forward back.
Are we going to do it the next episode? Or you
can have a reason, but to me,
you already gave me your point.
Okay.
No, you already gave your point in the last episode, and you trying to drill in the same point, and I already answered it very clearly.
The Lingard.
Unless you want to go again. Unless you want to, I'll let you go in again, but this is going to cut into the next episode.
No, that's fine.
All right.
We'll
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for listening.